mostly just paint canvas, and I paint, or I still do a lot of drawings, and I definitely tool around on the computer a little bit. But it's a lot more graphic in nature, but it still has like that, to me at least, it still has that architectural element to it. I guess I still see it, but I mean, most people wouldn't. Most people have said to me that they don't see the connection, but
between architecture
and what I'm doing currently, but I still see it.
Are they thinking like the architecture they see around them, or
I think
do
so,
they actually
but
know like who Zaha Hadid is? And
I think people that do
that's
know would
cool.
probably say, "Oh yeah, I can see where that's coming from."
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, I think someone, if I say, yeah, you know, it's inspired by architecture, they're gonna think, "How's that a building?" You know, but
Right. So how often do you paint now? I mean, do you paint a lot?
I was painting a lot, and then I took about a year off, and I recently just bought a bunch of supplies to get started again. So
Oh, cool.
I haven't had a studio space, and I live in a very small house right now, so it's going to be challenging, but I'll figure it out.
Cool. So yeah, I mean, I know you've done like some gallery shows and stuff like that. How was that?
They were really cool. I met a guy here when I moved to Portland. Well, not when I moved to Portland, but after living here for a while. This guy Richard, he saw something in my artwork and said, I think it's marketable if you did canvases. So he got me my first solo show here in Portland at Just Be Toys at the Compound Gallery, and I was really skeptical, but he saw something that I didn't see, so I went for it and actually did really, really well and had a really good reception. So it just kind of went on from that. Like that show sparked a lot more shows, which was amazing to me. Like I just didn't even think that would happen. So it was actually pretty cool, and I got to go everywhere. I mean, I've been all over the world pretty much just for canvas work.
Oh, wow.
So I'm pretty damn lucky, I would say. Because I know there are a lot more artists out there who are way more amazing than I am that will never get that chance. It's really hard to sell some of the paintings. Like, if it's a painting that I would rather not sell, and I don't know if I would rather not sell. It's more like to see it go away, I think, is more of that. Like, I'll price it really high in the hopes that I'll get to look at it for a little while longer. Because it's very rare that I do something that I like. So when I do, it's kind of hard to get rid of it. Like, I have one piece in my house that I did, and I don't think I'll ever put it up for sale, ever.
That's cool. So when you start painting again, are you going to have some more shows coming up?
If somebody asks me to, yeah.
You're not...
I'm not painting them for a show, I'm just painting them just to paint them. So yeah, if a show comes up, that'd be great.
Okay, cool. So how does, I guess, compare that to like doing graffiti, I guess, illegal artwork compared with kind of gallery artwork?
How does it compare?
Yeah, I mean, is it like...
It doesn't compare. I mean, there's no thrill, like a gallery is part of the reason that I took a year off was most of the shows that I was doing, it was more about who was at the show and not necessarily the artwork that was at the show, and I thought that was really cheesy.
What do you mean? Like,
it was just more about like the environment and not necessarily the artwork itself. Like, somebody famous, Shepard Fairey is having an art show here or something like that. It's like, people who don't even care about Ship and Fairy's artwork it's going to go to that show because they know there's going to be a lot of people at that show. And that's how it seemed to me. It was like more people went to gallery shows because other people were going to be there, not because they were there for the work.
Okay, that makes sense.
At least that's how I felt. So I just wanted to step away from that. You know, the first couple of shows I did, I didn't feel that way at all. I felt like, I mean, not just because the pieces sold, but it just seemed like the people that were there for the art were like very receptive, and it wasn't just a bunch of people standing around, you know, looking away from the walls.
Yeah.
Which is what I started to notice later on. Was that, you know, it was hardly anybody checking out the artwork and everybody checking out everybody else.
That's interesting. So, I guess going back to graffiti, was there like a specific time period or a year in graffiti that you thought was like the best? Like,
for me?
Yeah, like you were painting with people that, you know, you guys were all really active, or good city, good times? What?
I would say like my probably the more fondest memories I have of writing would be when like High and Felon and Jets and Mover and like all those guys were living here in Portland, and we were just painting freights all the time. That was just a really, really fun time. And for me, like a guy who does crazy abstract stupid stuff, painting trains a lot was really, really good for me to keep my letter structure grounded, I guess you could say. Like, because when you do abstract graffiti, it can get really abstract to the point where even a piece that I draw or paint, like I'll look at it and go, you know, I don't know what the hell that says. I can't see where the J or the O or whatever. But, you know, constantly doing freights and having to do like, you know, more simple styles, more traditional styles, which personally I feel looks better on a freight than some crazy whacked out stuff. Yeah, it just helped keep my crazy abstract stuff a little more grounded and not so off the wall.
So what year was that? I mean, if you had to pin it down to a year or
I would say like 2000, yeah.
And why was that? Was it just cool because everyone was...
I think it was just cool because, like, you know, there was the people that, you know, like High and Felon, you know, from DC were here, so that was like my DC connection. And then Jets and Mover, who were local Portland guys, we were all friends together, we all hung out together. So it was just like, I don't know, it was just like a really good time, really great camaraderie, and then just like each other, you know, egging each other, okay, let's go paint, we're gonna go paint, we're gonna go paint, we're gonna go paint. So it was like constantly painting, you know, whether it was walls or freights or whatever. It was just a good time.
Cool.
For me.
So did they all come? I mean, were you the first one to sort of set up camp in... Well, Jets and Mover were from here.
They were from here, yeah. And I had a friend from San Francisco who dabbled in graffiti. He wrote Kane. He had moved here first from San Francisco, and he had kind of talked me into moving up here, which I'm really glad he did. So yeah, he hung out with us a lot as well, and he painted with us as well, just not as often. But yeah, so I was kind of the first one here from that group. And then I can't remember if it was Felon that moved here first. Actually, no, I think it was Gray and Guess that moved here first. And then Felon, and then High, and Ecto. And Sire was living here for a long time as well. There's a lot of DC people living here.
So, I mean, did you ever... What happened? I mean, did people just slowly start
people
moving
just
away?
moved away. I mean, you know, 5-6 months out of the year, it's kind of hard to paint because everything's wet, but stuff still got done. you know, I just think